Rocket League life hacks.
Hi everybody, Sunless here. Today we're going to take an in-depth look at offensive zone rotations. That ever-changing formation of 3 players that many still struggle with. Interestingly enough, we can learn a lot about offensive pressure from hockey. So, to help us understand, today I'm introducing you to one of several new collaborators on the channel, Rocket Sledge.
Thanks, Sunless. Now, as some of you know, I'm Canadian, and I like to play my Rocket League like I play my hockey. So we're going to apply some of that hockey strategy to help you maintain pressure and hopefully score more goals. This video is based off a training GIF I made that hit #1 on the Rocket League subreddit. It was also posted to Twitter by ESL Rocket League and eventually ended up with over 300,000 views on GIFCat.
And now you finally made it with the big boys on YouTube.
Well, I guess I'm on YouTube, yeah.
Look, you just provide the visuals and I'll do the talking.
Okay.
So when you're in the attacking zone, possession is not a static thing. True, you may get to dribble around a bit, but between passes, shots, clears, and challenges, possession goes back and forth between the two teams. Thus, a lot of the time you find yourself in a fore-checking situation.
That's a hockey term, guys.
They know, Sledge. But yeah, it's all about trying to maintain offensive pressure while you don't necessarily have the ball. In this video, we're going to cover the 3 roles of a good forecheck, as well as advanced offensive rotation. So to start out, Sledge, could you quickly explain what's happening in this clip? And then I'll explain the 3 positions in detail.
Sure. So here we have the defending team with the ball. My role as the forechecker is to challenge the ball, either winning a 50-50 or at least forcing them to give up possession. I'm supported by the player at mid, who is ready to take advantage of a successful challenge, as well as by the last man back, who is in a position to handle the ball if I miss. When I force the opponent to play the ball around me, the last man moves up, becoming the next challenger, while the player at mid turns to support the challenge. Meanwhile, I'll rotate out while stealing boost. A successful challenge allows mid to turn and play the ball, while I continue my rotation to remove the goalie. Thus, our successful forecheck turns into a goal. A play like this requires each player to execute their role perfectly, so pay attention as Sunless breaks down the 3 positions required to maintain offensive pressure.
Position 1, the forechecker or challenger. It's common practice in threes to say that someone should always be challenging the ball, but that doesn't mean you should blindly throw yourself at every opportunity. Sometimes patience is necessary in order to make a successful challenge. As an effective forechecker, you need to be able to analyze the positions of the players and the ball to make good decisions. Here we find our challenger facing a bouncing ball with 2 blue players nearby. Now it's hard to predict which one of them will end up playing the ball, so he decides to wait them out. One of these players is actually waiting for the boost pad to respawn, and that ends up costing his team. Our forechecker analyzes the situation, makes his challenge, and turns this into a goal. Now let's look at a poor decision. Now I would consider this player to be in a challenge position, having the right angle and situated in the path where the ball will most likely travel. But if we analyze the play, we find the ball against the back of the wall, with the blue team in a state of disarray. It's difficult to determine which one will end up playing the ball, and the challenger is better off waiting until the blue team brings the ball out to a more favorable position. Added to that, the mid player is currently cutting rotation, and while that is an incorrect play, a smart challenger should concede his position in order to prevent a double commit. And we can see what actually happens is a poor challenge, and he doesn't really accomplish anything, except help the blue team clear the zone. After a successful forechecker challenge, what you do next once again relies on your ability to analyze the play. In the first example, Sledge took an opportunity to go for a demo, but also rotated out quickly to cover the ball if he had missed the net. Often, a good touch or challenge will allow you to continue to apply pressure. But it's important to remember that if you don't have a good angle or any momentum after a challenge, you need to rotate out. You have 2 teammates, and one of them probably has a better angle than you. Here we have the player getting a nice touch to get the ball into the zone. But now he needs to get out. The ball is straight above him, and he's pretty much useless from that spot. You'll see the last man back come in to play the ball, but the challenger did not rotate out as he expected, and instead continues to try to hit the ball. With all three of them in the same corner, the ball is easily cleared. The last thing I want to talk about for position 1 is cheating for a pass after a challenge. In this example, the player becomes the challenger after his teammate misses. He goes in for a shot, and then afterwards he starts to rotate out. Now at this point here, he's able to see Sledge going in for a challenge, but he needs to resist the urge to stay deep in the zone because it's not clear where the ball will end up. So he continues to rotate out, only turning after Sledge's successful challenge. If we watch from Sledge's POV, he recognizes he can go for the challenge because his teammate is rotating behind him. Then after the challenge, he's able to stay up because he's confident that his teammate will get to the ball first. This leaves him in the perfect position for the redirect on net. Position 2, the mid support or rover. This position is also called the rover because you're constantly adjusting your position to where you believe the ball could be going next. As the mid player, you want to be beside and slightly behind the challenging player. This allows you to accept passes or move in to become the next challenger. A lot of awareness is needed to make sure you avoid cutting rotation unless you have a better angle. Here's the clip we looked at before, now from the mid perspective. This player really has no good reason to try to cross the field and play that ball. The mid player also needs to recognize that the last man back has the best angle to play the ball, and they need to be careful not to cut them off. In this play, the mid player has two options. Stay in his position and hope for a pass while the other player rotates out, or he could have moved into the last man back position while the former challenger becomes the new rover. Instead, we get an example of how one bad rotation cut can quickly kill offensive pressure. As the final example, let's look at some good mid-positioning by Rocket Sledge. Position 3, the last man back. Now, it's a common misconception that the last guy back just gets to watch everything happen while defending the net. But it's not supposed to be like that. Just like the other two positions, being the last man back is not a permanent role. You should be looking for opportunities to get into the play, such as the universal signal for I need boost. A team that doesn't allow the last man back to rotate in is going to have a hard time maintaining offensive pressure. Running half rotations, they're probably going to get overwhelmed, run out of boost, and that ball is going to get cleared out. As the last man back, you are the last line of defense. So in the event that one of your teammates gets trapped, you need to understand how to play shadow defense, forcing the play to the corner and allowing your teammate time to get back. Shadow defense should always be viewed as a last option though. Good teammates should rotate out quickly, allowing you to be able to challenge and keep the ball on their side of the field. Finally, the goal of the last man back can be just to get a good hit, something that gives his teammates time. Not necessarily maintaining pressure, but just making sure they have a chance to set up a good defense. As the last man back, you need to be careful not to put your team in situations where all three of you are in the same area. Really, the only time you should be close to your teammates is when you're passing to each other or going opposite directions. The last man back might not be the most glamorous position, but recognizing when you should be rotating out to take that spot is very important. It's going to go a long way into helping your team maintain offensive pressure. Additionally, being the last man back definitely doesn't mean you won't have goal scoring opportunities. Now that we've covered the three offensive positions, it's easy to see how one person not fulfilling their role can quickly put an end to offensive pressure. While three people forgetting rotation will definitely spell disaster for your team, that's just beautiful. Properly positioned teammates can turn even the poorest challenges into goal-scoring opportunities. And when everyone plays their role perfectly, well, that's when the magic happens. To finish up, let's watch some sustained offensive pressure and notice how the roles of the three players are constantly changing. In real life, rotation is not going to be as perfect as some of the examples we looked at today, or as static as some of the diagrams you may have seen. Rotation is a living beast that constantly needs to change and adapt. As long as you get all the roles skillfully fulfilled, then offensive pressure should continue. You should never be afraid to fall back and play it safe, while at the same time supporting your teammates' plays and knowing when it's your turn to challenge or forecheck. So hopefully we helped you clear up some confusion and common misconceptions about offensive rotation. If you enjoyed this video, we'd appreciate a like and of course subscribe for more content like this. Of course, Sledge will be back in more videos, but if you want to see his other content, you should definitely check out his channel. Thanks guys, and good luck out there.